Hello there, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and today we're going to make these pads colouring pencil cases. So they need to be able to fit an A5 pad, and I've put a little slot there, although this one's bigger, just in case the A5 pad that they've got can slide in, and we need to do 12 crayon slots at the end here. So, and of course it's wadded as well. So let's make a start. I have the fabric here, and first of all I need to know how long this is, because whereas the other crayon rolls have been, we can trim it at the end, these ones we have to start correctly so that they fit right. Now if I take one of these crayons out, I can just use my tape measure, and as I need them to match as well, I can sort it out that way. So if I take from the end here, that's 2 centimetres. So I now need 2 times 12 plus my hem allowance. So I'm going to go with 25 centimetres, maybe 26. I can get rid of those, I don't need them again. Oh, I do need to know the length as well. Now, because we're doing it round an A5 pad, we can see that we need it not quite, but nearly 3 times the A5's pad, and then we need to be able to fold over this to get the right length on the long piece. So we're going down to about there, and then I need another separate piece which is just the square. Okay, so if I can lie this down, and I'm going to cut it right side to right side. There is a reason for this, it's so that I don't have to change it round again afterwards. There we go, and I've already cut my wadding out just because I always do that in the other room because I've got a bit more room. Okay, so this is now flat, and I need 1, 2, 3 plus my pens, so I can just mark it there. And then I need probably 26 down, so just buried my tape measure underneath all my wadding and everything, and there we are. So I've got to go to about there. Okay, now for the book, I need the same height and depth, and I can just mark that I need it, my book plus my hem allowance, so I can mark that there. Okay, so that's that done. The next part is sewing, so I'm going to switch off the camera and get cut out, and I'll be right back with you. Hello there, so welcome back. What I have here is I have my 2 layers face to face, right side to right side, and I have my wadding on the top. Now I always like to sew my wadding when I can see it. This just means that if there is any fluff that gets caught up, it's caught up in the foot rather than the gubbins of the machine. So all I'm doing now is I'm sewing down my short side, and when I come to halfway, I'm going to place this hair tie just inside there, so that the metal catch is sticking out and I can plainly see it, and it's just so that I've got that nice hook. Now I've found that the cheapest way to buy short lengths of elastic is just to buy hair ties, and that way I've got loads that are different, and it is just a preference thing. But halfway down one of the long sides we need to place our elastic holder. Okay, now I've also found that if you do the opening on a long side, I've just done a few stitches there and a few stitches there, that's going to make tidying it up at the end easier. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it inside out. And I'm really going to push these corners out so that they're nice and sharp, and I'm going to take a knitting needle to do that. Okay, so that's the main body done, and the next stage of that is of course the top stitch. I also need to do the pouch for where I am going to place the hook over. Now I'm going to take the right side of this fabric and I'm going to place the right side of this halfway down, and I'm going to make sure that both are facing in the same direction, and then I'm going to place the right side down of the lining, and of course I'm going to place the wadding on top so that I can see it. Okay, now to make the tube that goes across, I have a strip of fabric. I'm going to fold that in half and I'm going to sew down the long side, and then I'm going to turn it inside out. And it's just, that's how I prefer to do it. Okay, so as you can see, the wadding is slightly smaller. I'm going to place it underneath my sewing machine, but I'm going to place it probably 3/4 of the way down. This is so that I can just sew in one loop. I'm going to make sure that my strap around the middle is straight and in the middle. And you can see that it has slightly caught up in the wadding. I'm now going to put the wadding to that corner and then sew. Needle down, turn the corner, and when I come up this straight part, I'm just going to realign my strap in the middle, and of course I can pull over my wadding if I have cut it a bit small. There we go. Now I'm going to sew around the top again with my corners nicely pushed down, and around I go. And I'm going to just hold it there and adjust my wadding again and go 1, 2, 3, good couple of stitches, just so that when we turn this inside out I can get those corners nice and mited, nice and sharp. So I won't do that now, but I will show you what I mean. This is why I put it on the straight. If it was on a corner I would have to reshape the corner, but as it's on the straight part I can literally just push my fingers in and then I've got a nice straight edge, and then I'll sew over the top of that. But what I will do is I will sew over the top of that as part of the sewing of the garment. So the next job for me is I have to straighten out all my bits of material, but what I'm going to do as well is I need to straighten those out, so I'll be back in a moment. Hello and welcome back. So what I'm doing here is I'm just top stitching over the whole of the I'm top stitching down the one side of the flap. So I, in theory, am stitching up the hole that we made to turn it inside out. I'm not stitching around the whole of it, and all I've done, very simple line of stitches, just keeps it nice and sharp. Now on the main body I have pushed out my corners, I'm ready to sew up my hole, and I have pinned where I'm going to start the crayons, and also so that I can keep it nice and neat, I've sewn my button on now. And yeah, it's just a simple matter of putting my hand through the hole and doing it. But it does mean that there's no stitches sewn through there. Okay, so where to start? Probably there. Okay, so we need to be careful of the metal catch on this hair tie. So I'm going to go very slowly when I come up to there, and I can literally feel it with my fingers. Now I'm holding the fabric quite taut. This is so that I have an even amount of lining and an even amount of the fabric showing through. It's very easy just to sort of allow it to fold round. Okay, so slowly and carefully over my metal tag, I've now come to the corner, and I'm going to just straighten up my hole, my turny inside out hole, and when I'm happy then I can sew along there. So that's now sealed, and rather than having two clumpy seams, I've just got the one. So I'm now going to line up my pocket. Now I need it to be halfway, and I need it to be straight as well. Now you can either do this with an eye or you can get it lined up. So I'm going to place it under the foot so it doesn't push out of the way. Now I do have to be careful of this pin from where I've got the pocket, so I'm just going to remove it for now. And again, I'm going to pick up the foot and push the wadded thing underneath. This is just so that I keep it straight. There's no point measuring something and then you allow your sewing machine to push it out of the way. I'm just going to tuck the lining in so I've got a nice clean edge. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue round till I've got one line of stitches all the way back to the start. Okay. Hi, so welcome back. Okay, so we are getting there. We have the pouch for the book, we have the strap, we have the pocket for the crayons, and we have the clasp and the button. So I've got finishing up to do, obviously, because I love that job. Alright, next step. To make the, so literally lines to place the crayons in. Now, we know that we need 2 centimetres exactly for each crayon line. We know that we're sewing from that stitch to this stitch. So, and it's quite important, if I moved my needle, the line that I've just drawn on my sewing machine is now in the wrong place. So I need to just double check that it is in the right place. So easier from the centre. If you were going to mark it, line up your tape measure and then line up your line that you're going to do. Now I've done it with an indelible pen, I've done it with a Sharpie marker pen, but that's because it's my sewing machine and I can. Now if you weren't using your own sewing machine, then we could mark it by putting a hair tie around this bit if you've got one big enough, an elastic band, or post-it note is equally as good. So I've got my line ready, and I'm going to line up my line with my stitches, and I have my needle in the right place. Now what I don't want to do is push anything out of position. So I really have to start from the back because the back is secure because I've done that line of stitches around the outside. And then it's pushing it all the way. But if I was sewing from the other way, yes, it might be easier, but then the sewing machine would be pushing the wadding and the cotton down. So yes, then mind-numbing stuff, couple of reverse stitches, make sure you remain straight, go forward till the end, and then a couple more reverse stitches. take it out of the sewing machine. It's up to you whether you cut it or not. I would recommend that you give yourself enough thread so that it doesn't distort the fabric. Couple of stitches, couple of reverse stitches. Make sure you're staying on your line, and then sew forward. Yeah, it's fine if you don't cut it. I don't normally cut these things, but I do give myself a sarcastically large amount of thread so that it doesn't distort the fabric. Line it up with my stitch line, and then down we go. Couple of reverse stitches, and you can see I've managed to get it caught up. So what's happening is it's pulling it out of the way, and it can make it just a bit more difficult to stitch. And these ends of these stitches, they're going to have quite a lot of wear and tear, so it is quite important just to do that reverse stitch. And again, I know, and this is only a 12, so it's quite easy really. Alright, well, we're all done. I hope this video has helped. I hope all I want to do is get you sewing. So yeah, thanks ever so much for watching.